Hey guys, what's going on? mcoc here, and today we're going to be talking about my rank 3 Onslaught. This dude is my 4th rank 3, and he's honestly the best mutant in the game. As you guys could probably tell by the length of the video, I was pretty excited to make some content on this guy. 47 and a half minutes of video is quite a bit to get through and record and, voice over. So as you guys can tell, I might be a little too excited to talk about this guy, but it's not very often that the next best champ in a class comes out, and I believe Onslaught is that. He is the best mutant in the class. So now that we've started talking about the length of the video, I do want to say this video is not intended to be watched in one sitting. I don't expect any of you guys to sit and watch me ramble for 47 and a half minutes. That's why there will be timestamps in the description as well as the pinned comment. But I am not going to be upset if you guys want to sit here and watch it with me and sit here through the whole thing. A matter of fact, grab a snack, grab a drink, and crack it open and let's have some fun. So while I was rambling here, Onslaught took down Winter Soldier in about a minute, which is just over 500,000 health in 61 seconds. It could be a bit faster, especially if you're running recoils. He's actually very good with recoils as well. But we're starting off with Battlegrounds. I think that is the most important footage for pretty much anyone. A lot of people who watch my showcases probably only watch the Battlegrounds stuff. At least that's what I've seen from my metrics and stuff. So I try to put that first. That way you guys can see it right away. You don't have to search for it. So we're starting off with Kingpin. I can't remember the nodes here, but they really don't matter. And a lot of nodes don't really matter for Onslaught. So one thing that you guys will notice here is that I skipped the special one entirely. I only have 9 degens, but that is still plenty of damage. As you can see, he's just about to be under, now he is under 10% health, and we took him down in 43 seconds. So you don't really need to go for the special 1 into special 2 a lot of the time, but there are some instances where you will need to, and in my opinion, it really depends on the defender, and Korg is one of those defenders. You guys will see in this fight that I do go for the special 1 because I want my special 2 to be what kills him, because I don't want to dance around with him and wait for those degens to tick him down. You can do that with easier champs like Kingpin, but when they get to be a bit more annoying like Korg, for example, you really want to throw that special 1 first. That way you get the max amount of degens from the special 2, and that will allow you to make sure that the special 2 is what kills the defender. So one really cool thing about Onslaught, he's got non-contact attacks on his first medium, first light attack, his heavy attack, all of his special 2, and like 90% of his special 1. So he's a really good counter to the Thorns. As you see there, we didn't take any chip damage from Thorns from Korg there. So really solid stuff. 47-second takedown for a rank 2 Korg, not too bad. Next up we've got Kindred, and this one is kind of an interesting fight, because Kindred, normally you want like a science champion to counter him, mainly spider champs because they have a longer pause on the encroaching outbreak. But for those who don't know, the encroaching outbreak adds like a duration to it when you make contact with Kindred. And like I said, Onslaught has a lot of non-contact attacks, which means that you can pretty much keep the outbreak at bay pretty easily. One thing that I do want to note here is that breaking out of the root that Kindred puts on you when you take him down to, I think, 1% health, it's really important to have a special ready for being able to break out of that root. That way you take a minimal amount of chip damage, you don't get the the degens placed on you. So I'm gonna just flat out say right here, my mistake was going for a special 2. If you spam special 1s, you will have the organic magnetism debuffs on the opponent, and that will allow you to get back to your special 1, because the organic magnetism essentially acts as like special refund or something like that, where each special costs less. But still, 65 seconds, 75% health for not playing so great. I think you would have had a lot more health if you just spam special 1s, and you guys will see later that spamming special 1s isn't that bad. Next up we have Attuma, and this Attuma is unawakened, so we don't really have to worry about the Thorns damage that much. But Onslaught, like I said for Korg, he's a really good counter to Thorns characters because the first medium, first light, the heavy attack, most of the special 1, and all of the special 2 counter the Thorns completely. So the best way to play against Attuma is to not really parry, until you have enough neuroshocks to where you want to just start parrying heavy and refreshing like I'm doing here. And then you could just get to your special 2 and call it a day. This fight, I don't think you needed to go for the special 1. You could have just gone straight to special 2, because you guys will see right here, just go in for the special 2, and it's overkill. It's way too much overkill. So we probably would have been fine just going special 2 and then dance with him till he's dead, because he's very easy to keep everything paused. Next up, we have one of 2 bullseye fights. I included 2 because I think there are 2 ways to tackle bullseye. This one I didn't play very well, but I do want to show you that the special 2 only and then special 1 into special 2 are about the same for bullseye. See right there, I don't play very well, but he throws a special 1. Now we just have to attack him. As you guys can see, normally most champs, when you attack him while he has killer instinct, even though he's stunned, he will evade you. But the cool thing about Onslaught is that the stun, when he like tries to purify it and counterattack you during your stun, he turns it into a passive stun, which essentially allows you to turn off most of his defensive threat with the killer instinct. So pretty cool stuff. That was only 40 seconds. This next one is going to be a little bit longer, so it's not as fast going special 1 into special 2, but I do think it's a bit safer for this fight. I just don't think bullseye warrants the whole special 1 into special 2 a lot of the time. One thing I do like to note is that I do like pushing bullseye to his special 2 because there are less hits to block. You can just evade these and then evade the last hit, so you're only blocking 2 hits in comparison to however many it is on his special 1. That dude loves to throw a bunch of random stuff at you on his special 1. But yeah, isn't that really cool how when he tries to purify the stun, it just becomes a passive and you can extend your combo essentially, and it allows you to get that free extended pause, which is huge because you start with your degens being paused. So really solid stuff here. I think this was like 52 seconds. We had more health because we played a little bit better, but it was slower. Next up, we have Mike's rank 3 Hulkbuster. This one's a really fun fight because obviously we have class disadvantage, so our base attack rating is lower, but this is really cool because the way that Hulkbuster works, when you strike him with a critical hit and he has an armor up buff, he puts a shock debuff on you. And this is a perfect segue into Onslaught's resistances because he's fully resistant to bleed, incinerate, and shock. I think it's 150% resistance, and it's not just debuffs, it's effects. So any version of those effects, he's fully resistant to. Meaning this is free willpower healing, and we're also inflicting neuroshocks because when Onslaught is inflicted with energy damage, he inflicts neuroshocks, and that allows you to just freely ramp up and not have to worry about anything. So it's a really fun fight, and it's really safe overall. I fought Mike's rank 3 Hulkbuster with a lot of champs before, and he's really annoying to fight. He's kind of tanky, and Onslaught handled this beautifully. Full yellow bar, 58-second finish, above 50,000 points. What else can you ask for? Next up, we have Maestro here, and Onslaught is a good budget counter. I'm not going to call him a great counter to Maestro, because Maestro still turns off some of the stuff that Onslaught does, but you could still pause your neuroshocks and degens with your heavy attack, get the extended pause that way, as you guys can see here. Even when glancing is active, we can do that. And then a lot of Onslaught's damage comes from special attacks, just like most mutant champions. So he's a pretty decent counter to Maestro on paper. As you see here, we get a bunch of neuroshocks from the special. We're still able to get the extended pause. So it's really not, he's not really that bad of a counter, but he's also not that great because, as you guys will see, we're not able to place more neuroshocks from our basic attacks. But Maestro is pretty easy to counter with his special 2 and his heavy attack, as you see there, and it's pretty easy to get the extended pause. And see, we are able to get the degens there, and we were able to get 17 degens. So now we just have to worry about keeping these paused while also staying away from Maestro because of the cosmic radiation. We don't want unnecessary chip damage. And there we go. Maestro's down in about 68 seconds, 48,000, really close to 49,000 points. You can't really complain there. And I wanted to include this fight against Baron Zemo because it's one of those instances where I do think you should use your special 1. One thing about Baron Zemo that is kind of annoying is that his cleanse cleanses the Daunted debuffs, and the Daunted debuffs are really important for Onslaught's damage. Daunted, for those who don't know, increases the damage taken during special attacks, and this is like your special attack. So when you launch a special attack, your basic, like your special hits will deal more damage, but also the damage over time effects are going to deal more damage. And that's why it's so important, because Onslaught deals a lot of damage from this degen. Here I thought I was going to be able to take him down, but my degens weren't doing nearly as much as I thought I was going to be able to, and Zemo has weird AI and he doesn't like throwing his specials, so now we have no degens. He's at 21% health and we're like a minute into the fight. So this is one of those fights where I think you should go special 1 into special 2, that way the special 2 is guaranteed to kill with those degens. But you know, it is what it is. This special 1 here is pretty much going to finish it, I think. No, we're just gonna have to hit his block once and then we'll be fine. So yeah, it's really not too bad. Still a really solid fight, but I would go special 1 into special 2, and then it would be like a 50-something second fight. Next up, we have some Alliance War content, and this is Node 38. This is where the opponent has Ebb and Flow knockdown, right back at it, and aggression prowess. And if I were to point out one video or one clip in this video to point out like what Onslaught does best and how to show off most of his abilities in one fight, this would be the one fight I would point to. There's debuff immunity that comes from knocking the opponent down. And as you see, the Daunted comes up as a passive. So when Daunted would be prevented by debuff immunity, the Daunted debuffs, you place passive ones instead. When your parry stun would be prevented via debuff immunity, you place a passive stun instead. So that is what's allowing us to freely attack her and not really have to worry about this debuff immunity here, because she's pretty much not doing anything. Also, really cool thing here, Chielth inflicts bleeds through block with her axe attacks, and as you guys can tell, Onslaught takes no damage from those bleed effects. So this is just a recipe for a perfect Onslaught fight, in my opinion. It shows off pretty much everything in his kit perfectly. You can easily punish the heavy attack because she lunges forward, and this special 2 here just does so much damage, and that's pretty much it. If there's anything I could show you guys that shows how good Onslaught is, it's that fight in particular. It shows off how he interacts with debuff immunity, as well as punishing the opponent with your heavy attack, as well as, you know, the bleed resistance. And here's another instance where we have the debuff immunity via knockdown. And this is America Chavez in Alliance War. I believe that she's running recoils, so it's not that great of a showcase here, but I did want to show this fight because Onslaught's very good on debuff immune nodes. He basically has the White Magneto pre-fight in his kit without needing White Magneto, which I think is just really cool. Right here, we're trying to bait a special attack from America Chavez, and she just doesn't play into us. So what we're going to do here is bait another heavy attack, punish it so she gets the Dark Dimension, and that way the special 2 is not unblockable and it doesn't kill us. One thing that I thought was going to be shown off here is that Onslaught counters Thorns, but she's also, you know, still dealing that damage. So I think she's literally just reflecting damage back, and it's not like a Thorn source. So I was kind of wrong in my assumptions here that he would counter that, but really not that big of a deal. All we have to do is bait this next special 2, we get it out of her, and now we just have to punish her with our special 2, and that should sort her out. As you guys see here, she's just melting. So he's really solid for these purified nodes and debuff immune nodes, so he's gonna have a place in Alliance War pretty much for like the next few years. Like it's kind of nuts. He's great for Hazard Shift, great for those debuff immune, great for Purify. He's a fun time in War. But next up, we've got story content. This node has Caltrops and a couple of other like mutant benefiting nodes. And then the Defender also gains a passive Fury every X amount of seconds, increasing attack by 5%. And then there's Coolant Leak, so you can't use robots. But this is a really cool showcase of Onslaught's bleed resistance. I purposely dashed back there to get 10 of those on us, just to show you guys, like, yeah, they're not doing anything to us. and Punisher is increasing his attack rating significantly. He's up by 100% on his attack rating now, and you know, these bleeds still aren't doing anything to us, whereas if the opponent, or if we weren't fully bleed resistant, we would be getting chipped down completely. Right there, screw up, eat a special 2, not a huge deal. We just have to bait a heavy attack, get the striker here, and then use a heavy into the special 2. That gives us the extended pause, and it starts our special 2 degens off paused. So now he's pretty much going to die before these degens fall off, which is huge, but we can use another heavy attack there, get the extended pause, and he's gone. So really solid stuff. For those unaware with how I structure my showcases, I tend to start off with the first 3 fights on a story quest lane, and pretty much I use that as a test to see how strong a champion is in that specific node set, and usually they're fine. That's why they're in the video. So yeah, the whole point of how I'm doing this is if you guys don't see the nodes before the fight, assume they're the last fight's nodes, or the last nodes shown. I always try to show the first fight's nodes and then go from there. So yeah, we're going against Spidey 2099 here. Another reason why Onslaught is good for most champions in particular is that Neuroshock is energy damage. But as you guys can tell, this special 2 here puts degens, and degens are direct damage. And there aren't any champs immune to Neuroshock. There are champs who have energy resistance though. But no one has direct damage resistance other than champs who have like built-in protections, like Sasquatch for example, and I think Destroyer has built-in protection that will reduce damage from all sources. But no one really has an immunity to 2, and those champs who do have really high energy resistances, they usually don't have degen immunity. So yeah, Onslaught is not really limited at all in the department of what champions he can take. And he's also, surprisingly enough, very good for a lot of tech champions, because a lot of tech champions do weird things to him, and he's supposed to be like the anti-Nimrod champion. If you guys can't tell, Nimrod can't really do much to this guy. Nimrod counters prowess, healing, and inflicts shock, and Onslaught has no prowess. He benefits from being shocked, and yeah, he's got no healing as well for Nimrod to punish. So a lot of the tropes that Nimrod has, other tech champs have sparsely in their kit. So yeah, he can pretty much handle a lot of other champs in this game. It's pretty wild the amount of champions that he can take and can fight. This is one of my favorite lanes that I will be showing you guys, because I think it shows off Onslaught's abilities pretty easily and pretty well. Essentially here, if you strike the opponent's block when they have that blue shock icon, you are inflicted with a shock debuff. Like I said earlier, Onslaught is 150% resistant to shock effects. So this allows him to get free willpower healing and also ramp up the neuroshocks on the opponent. So you're going to be cooking here. Like it's a given. You're going to be having a good time here. There's also this debuff immunity here, which is really cool for Onslaught, because he, like I said earlier, counters debuff immunity, because a lot of his stuff gets through debuff immunity, which is very unique. I don't think many champs have that in their kits. Like if something's prevented by debuff immunity, place this instead. Not a lot of champs have that. I think it's really cool that he has it. It's cool design space, and I'm glad that he has it. But yeah, this is going to be a good showcase of what happens if you don't have the max amount of degens before launching your special 2, because we're at 10, and now when we use our special 2 here again with these 11 neuroshocks, we will be able to convert them into degens, and then we will be able to get, you know, the max of 20 degens. So see here, now we're back up to 20, and he's gone. So really solid stuff there, other than me playing pretty badly in the first part of the fight and losing 30% health. So next up in this lane, it's the same nodes. We have Black Panther, and this is going to be a really good showcase just in general, because we have class advantage, so you're going to see the damage really pop off. These shock debuffs are really helping us ramp, and it allows us to bypass the special 1 in a lot of instances, because we're not really going to need it, because neuroshocks are already ramping on the opponent. And Black Panther's special attacks are very easy to punish because he lunges at you. You just have to know the proper spacing. Right here, we're going to be able to drop our special 2, and he's gonna melt. Pretty nuts. That's almost 50,000 damage per second during the special attacks, and I don't really have to do much here other than just dance with him and he's gone. This next fight though, it's one of my favorites. Other than the shield fight, this one's one of my favorites because it's iHulk. And for those who don't know, iHulk has a really unique ability where he counters degen, and he still takes damage from degen, but he banks degen damage as gamma. So iHulk also has one of the highest health pools in the game, so if you kill him and he goes immortal and he has a lot of gamma to regenerate, you essentially have to fight his full health pool back if you screw up. So what I opted to do here was spam special ones. Special 1 inflicts Neuroshock. You still get the benefit from Daunted, meaning you are getting the increased damage during your special attack, so the Neuroshocks that you're putting on him are still going to be dealing really strong damage, and you're not going to give him enough gamma to even go immortal. And it's really cool. A lot of champions who rely on damage over time can counter iHulk pretty easily, so it's really cool to see Onslaught work here, because Onslaught obviously has an ideal rotation. Special 1 into Special 2, and the Special 2 is your killing attack, it's your payout. But if you can't use your Special 2 due to various reasons like this, the Special 1 spam is very respectable in damage. I don't think it's going to win you many matches in Battlegrounds, but just in questing content in general, this is a really strong loop. Like you guys can see here, his health pool is just really starting to melt. Now we just need like 2 more Special 1s and then he's done. And his Special 1 here is really easy to punish with our heavy attack. One really funny thing about Onslaught here is that he kept trying to inflict that crush debuff from the Apocalypse synergy. So we had crush like uptime of like 100% for a couple hits there, because he just kept trying to inflict the debuff through the debuff immunity, which I think is really cool. So all of our attacks were bypassing block. Really cool stuff there in my opinion. But next up we have Agent Venom. This has Healer Hide, Calcify, Retaliate. So this one is included just to show you how he pops off with attack modifiers. So the best way to think of Daunted, it's like prowess, but it also affects your damaging overtime effects. Like that's the really simplified way of putting it. And I'm sure a Kabam employee could provide a much more eloquent explanation and a much more accurate one as to what it actually does. But the best way to think of it is it's a prowess effect that you put on the opponent that benefits you, and it increases all damage taken during special attacks that you can deal. That's the best way I can put it. So that allows it to scale very well with attack modifiers. You guys will see in a couple of later clips that the degen damage gets pretty ridiculous. Like our basic attacks here are really strong due to the Fury, and you know that'll happen for any champ. Any champ's gonna have really strong basic attacks when they have these 7 Furies on them. It's not a huge deal. But the really cool thing you guys will see in a later clip is how strong the degen actually gets. So yeah, that was Agent Venom down pretty easily. Next up we have another victim, Spidey 2099. It's our second time beating his ass today. It's going to be the same story as Agent Venom. We're just not going to get as many Furies because this dude's special attacks don't have that many hits. You don't want to push him to a special 2 because the Wither can be annoying. If he strikes your block, he'll place the Ruptures on you. But we can block the whole special 1 and get 4 Furies. Right here we are able to get the special 1 off. That allows us to inflict more Neuroshocks, and we will be cooking once we get to our special 2. I'm not sure if I mentioned this when talking about the first Spidey 2099, but those resistance up passives that he gets every time you strike him, those reduce damage taken from physical and energy sources by a certain percentage for each resistance up. But as you guys can see here, the degen just pops off. So yeah, he may reduce our damage from the Neuroshocks, but the degens will go crazy. Next up we have Nick Fury, and this is a really fun fight because you want to push Nick Fury to a special 1, something you normally don't want to do, and you want to block the whole special 1. So yeah, I'm trying to get this dude to block here, and he's being kind of a butthole. It's kind of annoying. I keep intercepting him even though I'm just trying to get this dude to throw a special 1, but we finally block the whole special 1, and we have 7 Fury, and we just need to get in here, punish that with a special 1. We have the extended pause, so we don't have to worry about our Neuroshocks falling off, and we're pretty much ready to start cooking. The Crushed is really strong from the Apocalypse synergy. You get it every 20 hits in your combo meter, and that allows you to break the opponent's block and get free openings that way. Right there, I was trying to be fancy and get a clean special punish with my heavy attack. Obviously it failed, but it's really not that big of a deal. But here, this is one of my favorite things about Onslaught for Nick Fury, is that the special 2 here pushes him to a second life, but we can still continue attacking him with our special 2 and still inflict some neuroshocks and degens on the later hits of our special 2, which means that we're going to be chipping him down even better than most champions, because we are still dealing damage from our damage effects after the second life. They're not the original ones we had, but they're still doing something, so it's better than him removing all effects, because you can still place new ones on. This is one of the coolest nodes that we've had in all of Act 8, in my opinion. This has Tenacity 3, so there's a 75% chance for the opponent to purify any incoming debuff. They also have this Unstoppable timer, so every X amount of seconds they gain an Unstoppable for a certain amount of time, and then if you have prowess effects you bypass it, but Onslaught has no prowess, and it doesn't really matter. So it's going to be really sweet. You guys are going to see what happens here. When you launch your special while the opponent is stunned, you will gain that passive fury, and that passive fury is what allows the really crazy damage that you guys are going to see off of this special 2. So right here we do a full 5-hit combo, heavy into special 2, and there we go, 150,000 damage per second during that special 2. And that's how he is when you have some really fun nodes increasing your attack rating and benefiting mutant champions. And that's how well he pops off against champs who have Purify. As you see there, I was able to do a couple hits heavy and then get right back in and punish him, just because I was able to extend my combo with this tenacity node. So I think it's really cool. I really love Onslaught's design. I'm pretty sure I can say this. Onslaught is designed by the same person who designed Overseer, so yeah, I'm not surprised that Onslaught has become my favorite mutant in the game, because for a while I didn't like mutant champions at all, and yeah, Onslaught has filled that void. He's now my favorite mutant by far, and I'm gonna rank him up as much as I can, as soon as I can. Right now it's only rank 3, but in the future I do think I'm gonna keep taking him up higher and higher. He's one of those champs who's gonna age very well, because he's got brand new mechanics that obviously look to be aimed at the rest of the mutant class. It's future design space, and he is probably going to be one of the strongest champs to have it. So I do think he's going to be very strong going forward, and yeah, I'm just really excited for it. And when he falls off in defensive value because more counters to him get released, I still think he's going to hold his own against existing defenders, because the number of counters right now aren't really that good. The only way to easily beat him is to just try to nuke him with your normal nuke options like Hulkling, CGR, Adam Warlock. But in the future, when more champs get added that counter him, that frees him up for attack, and a lot of people don't know how strong he is on attack yet. I've been able to get really strong 40-second kills against certain champions with him, and yeah, I think it's gonna be sweet. I think as he ages worsely as a defender because more counters come out, I think he's going to become one of the best mutant attackers, and widely known as one, because people are going to have to use him more on attack to justify their investment into him. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be really sweet. Next up, while I've been rambling, this is like an Alliance War sized health pool from Act 7. This is Hazard Shift, Incinerate, and Poison, but there's also like a node that juggles Incinerate and Cold Snap immunity. And then there's also this Armor Break node, so every time you block a hit, you are inflicted with an Armor Break. So I wanted this to be like a more Alliance War focused showcase, even though it's in story content. I probably should put closer to the Alliance War stuff. But I did think this was going to be a cool lane to show off how he interacts with these nodes, because you kind of have to play weirdly against you know, the hazard shift, incinerate, and poison, because you can't attack during the poison. But a really cool thing that you guys have already seen here is that Onslaught counters miss when the opponent is Neuroshock. So if you didn't have enough utility before, that's even more utility. And a cool thing that a lot of people overlook is that his special 1 organic magnetism debuffs also have ability accuracy reduction baked into them. So as you spam special 1s once your degens are fully ramped, you're just continuously reducing their ability accuracy by a certain percentage for each debuff. I think you get like 40% or something like that at a max, but it's still really strong. So yeah, I mean, again, is as if that wasn't enough, there's even more. And one thing I didn't mention in the Battlegrounds stuff, you start the fight with one singular parry, and the opponent's willpower is turned off. You don't have to worry about the opponent constantly regenerating from your debuffs that you're placing on them. And then another really cool thing is that you can parry 7 times with 3 out of 3 despair, get 7 daunted on the opponent, and then you're fully heal blocking the opponent because you have a max heal rate inversion from despair. So yeah, this dude's just an absolute unit. He's full of utility. He can do so much. And he is genuinely the best mutant champion in the game, and it's not even close, in my opinion. The amount of stuff he can do is just ridiculous. I don't think he's as broken as someone like Kitty Pryde, because she has just like really silly broken interactions. But the amount of stuff on paper in his kit, it's just like, what the hell, man? Like, he's really good. Like, really, really good. And he's got one of the coolest special 3s in the game, too, which, you know, is just awesome. We had to go for a special 3 here because I got pushed my special 2 without enough Neuroshocks, and I just wanted the special 2 to be what kills Juggernaut here. Juggernaut's not hard to fight, but, you know, I like when the special 2 is what kills the opponent, because it just looks cooler. No reason other than that is why I like it. So we can go here for a full 5-hit combo, and then heavy cancel our special 2, and that should be enough damage to send this guy home. Yeah, because the extended pause is allowing those degens to keep ticking without falling off, and he's gone. So pretty solid stuff there. Next up, we've got Overseer on the same nodes here. So I just wanted to show that he can take a variety of champions on this hazard shift node and work decently well. A lot of these hazard shift nodes in Alliance War have stuff like stun immunity, and I think that this node in particular in story content is harder than some of the hazard shift nodes in Alliance War, and if he can take this and be fine, I do think that he will be fine in Alliance War. So yeah, I think it's really sweet how strong Onslaught is for hazard shift stuff. And it's another cool thing because right there in Alliance War, that auto block, if you do medium light, that would trigger the auto block, but since your first light is a non-contact attack, the parry stun would fail, and he wouldn't actually parry stun you. He would try to parry you, so that would increase your daunted debuffs on the opponent, but the parry stun wouldn't stick, which is really cool. Can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, now I can remember what I was talking about. Sorry, I'm so like all over the place. I'm just excited. One cool area that the mutant class touches on with certain characters, but like doesn't fully touch on it enough, is the interaction that they have with energy damage. So like Bishop, Havoc, they both punish the opponent for inflicting energy damage onto them. So not only does Onslaught have unique ways to increase special damage, it's pretty much prowess 2.0. He also has the mutant trope where he's like, if you inflict me with energy damage, I'm gonna punish you for it. And it's so cool. It's gonna be hard to design around this guy going forward in the skill class. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it, but yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like, they would just have to make skill champs who are immune to Neuroshock, I guess. But next up, we've got some Necropolis solos. I've heard some people say that he's not good in Necropolis, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Onslaught is one of the best champions for Necropolis because of the way his damage ramps. And the only thing that will limit you from using Necropolis or using Onslaught in Necropolis is yourself. He's a bit more skill based. Like, see right there how I didn't get the extended pause because I punish the special 1 in a bad way, that's the only thing that'll hold you back, is if you don't know when to punish certain attacks and get that extended pause, and then continuously doing it to keep your effects paused, because that is your bread and butter for getting this, these fights down. You want the 20 degens, and then you want to keep spamming special 1s, and you need to keep your stuff paused. A really cool thing about Onslaught, though, is that he can immediately ramp up. So if you do lose those degens, those neuroshocks are longer than the degens, and if you keep them paused, and always keep them paused, you just build right back up to a special 2, convert 20 of your existing neuroshocks into degens, and then you're back to cooking. So he's kind of forgiving, but he'll struggle to solo a bit if you screw up a lot. But you guys will see he's going to keep just melting down these health pools. So I'm going to slow down a bit now, because these fights are going to be longer. We have 2 more Necropolis solos. We'll get into those when we get into those. But I'm going to slow down and stop talking about Onslaught, because I think we've covered pretty much everything that we need to counter. Or we've talked about everything that we needed to talk about. But yeah, I originally did this video, and I watched it today while I'm at work, the day I'm recording it, and I was like, you know what? I don't like the way I voiced it over. I can tell I was too tired. I can tell that it just wasn't my best video. So I'm back at the drawing board, and that's why I am here again making this video. You guys never saw the first attempt. The channel members who are so kind to, donate monthly, I asked them for some advice. They didn't really say anything, but one of them said I did seem tired, and I did make the video at 2 a.m. So I wasn't happy with the way it turned out, and I wanted to make sure that I was providing good content for you guys. So here we are. We are, redoing it. But yeah, I just wanted to, talk about that a bit, because it was a bit frustrating for me while I was sitting at work. I didn't like the way the video turned out at all. So I came back to the drawing board and wanted to make sure that it was good for you guys. I'm normally not too picky when it comes to video content, because I've got real life to juggle. I work full-time, go to school full-time, and then I try to make videos on top of it. Obviously something's got to give, and usually it's the video quality, but for this I didn't feel like it. I could take a couple more hours to get a better voiceover and talking. So yeah. But yeah, as I've been rambling, we now have 80 plus neuroshocks, and you guys are seeing that the special damage, or damage during specials, is just, it's outrageous. It's nuts. 91 neuroshocks. This dude is just melting, and spamming the special 1s is just really allowing us to really melt this dude down. We honestly only need one more special 1, and then he's pretty much over with. The really cool thing about Namor here is that he lunges forward at you with his heavy attack, but he has that spacing just enough so you can punish, in between the first and second hit of the heavy attack. But there we go. We had 110 neuroshocks at the end of the fight, and that was Namor down in about 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, which is really, really good, because that's, I think, north of 7 million health. I mean, this guy's got 8 million health, and that's the next fight that we're taking, and this is Attuma in Necropolis. For a while, the only really good counter to Attuma was Shuri. I don't know who other people used. I heard someone tried Zemo before, but I wasn't a huge fan of Zemo for Attuma, because Attuma reduces bleed potency, and he also does more thorns damage based on how many bleeds are on him. So ideally not like the greatest option there. I mean, he can work, but I don't know if I've heard of Shuri soloing Attuma, or at least I haven't heard of it being the easiest thing to do and the most consistent thing to do. Attuma can easily solo this guy, and it's kind of ridiculous how easily he can solo it. I think Onslaught was built with countering Attuma in mind, and I think that's a large reason why he's so good at handling this fight. But this fight, once you get it going, it's the same thing over and over again. It's just parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy. So we've got 16 neuroshocks. Right there we screwed up. And we're going to have to use our special 3 because we did screw up. But at the end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal because we're constantly pausing the Necropolis timer charges, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know the proper name of them, but those are paused during special attacks, and your relics add, I think, five to them. And you're constantly spamming your relic for free openings. You're constantly spamming special attacks. He's gonna cook here. He's obviously handling this fight pretty well. And just parry heavy means you get none of the thorns damage on you, and then you also don't want to throw any special ones. So the way you're gonna get access to your Daunted here is from your special 2 spamming, which it's slightly annoying. I do want to bring up that there is a bug in this fight, and I will show you guys soon, semi-soon. It will be fixed soon, I believe. At least that's what I am hoping. I sent the bug request in the CCP. But yeah, the special one on Onslaught, I think it's the first hit, has a contact attack, and that allows Attuma to inflict thorns damage on you. So you guys are going to see when I launch my special one, I can't remember when I do it, Attuma will inflict us with thorns damage, but we do have the Red Skull synergy here. So yeah, we're going to dash back here. No, we're going for a special 2. I can't remember when we go for the special 1, but you guys are going to see it doesn't heal back the full amount. The Red Skull synergy allows us to heal back 85% of physical damage taken while attacking the opponent, and you guys can see that it only regenerates essentially like 1 instance of Atuma's thorns. I'll explain it a bit more when it happens so you guys can see in full detail of like what's really going on. Right here we block the special 2 because we don't want to get hit and die. I think right here we throw it. No, we don't. When do we throw it? Because I remember I don't finish the fight at like 61% health. But the way Atuma's thorns work is that he has a chance to inflict you with thorns damage, and the concussions that he has on himself are increasing that chance because he's reversing the chance. Yeah, he's a weird one to explain to people, but essentially all the concussions on him are making him more likely to inflict you with thorns damage. And you guys are gonna see right here, see how we took 12% damage, or 12% of our health is gone. The Red Skull synergy is supposed to allow us to heal back 85% of that, and then with 3 out of 3 recovery, that is supposed to allow us to increase the amount that we heal back to 97.77%. So that is currently bugged. So if you bring Red Skull and then you also bring Shield on the team, you will get a net heal from the physical damage when attacking. So it'll chip you down, but it'll also heal you back. So you can pretty much just attack Attuma normally and spam special ones, and you'll actually be net healing with that synergy paired with Shield, which I think is really cool. But he finally got into a second set of charges about a minute ago. He wouldn't have gotten it if we didn't get to the special 3 and had to launch that earlier on, but I think this is like 5-something minutes for 8 million health. Not too bad at all. And I think we're going to end the video with the most impressive Necropolis solo, and that is Airwalker. A lot of people struggled with Airwalker when Necropolis first came out, and rightfully so. No one really faces Airwalker that much, and they don't really realize what makes him annoying as a defender. So yeah, what makes him annoying as a defender? Dexing his special attacks. You'd think that's what you're supposed to do, but if you dex the special attacks, that will place the Dark Tide debuffs on you, and those will deal damage to you when you're inflicted with armor breaks. So what you want to do is just block all the special attacks, and then you could solo this guy with pretty much anyone who can solo a Necropolis fight. So Onslaught, for example, great option here because you want to block special attacks to stay close so you can punish him with your heavy attacks for the extended pause. But the one tricky thing in this fight is that the spacing isn't always perfect. If you block the first hit of Airwalker's special 1, you will be pushed so far away from him that you will not even consider, punishing him with a heavy attack. Right there, we tried after the special 2, so the spacing is just so tight that you won't be able to get it normally. Right there, first hit misses us, and we're able to punish with a heavy attack pretty easily. So it's just knowing what, like, when you can and can't counter. Like right there, not a good time to counter. And the way this fight works is that he gains that Herald buff every 15 seconds if you don't knock him down. And obviously using Onslaught, you want to knock down the opponent as much as possible to get the extended pause, spam special attacks. So it's, you know, this is a perfect counter in my opinion. The only thing that he doesn't do is control Airwalker's power. So if you don't solo the fight and Airwalker gets 3 of those, you know, Power of Galactus buffs, I can't remember what the actual name is, his ability power rate will be kind of ridiculous, and it'll be a rough fight. But as you see there, the special 2, we were able to punish there. So it's all about knowing when you can and when you cannot punish the opponent's special attacks in Necropolis with Onslaught. Like right here, you can do it easily. Sometimes off the special 2, you can't. Sometimes you can. But it's, once you get the 20 degens from the special 2, you're spamming special 1s and you're just melting this guy down. One trick I did there, if you guys caught on to it, is that I used a light attack as soon as I knocked him down after my special attack. That way the opponent thinks they have a free opening to attack me with their special after, like, while I'm attacking. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a decent way to kind of like manipulate the AI. These last 2 special attacks we have not been able to get an easy punish on because he's been pushing us back so far. So like I said, the biggest trick to using Onslaught in content like Necropolis is playing smart and not getting too greedy and knowing when you can and when you cannot punish. Like right there, that was really close to being too far. Right there, we're way too far. And you just gotta, you know, get out of your instincts in a lot of these fights. Like normal instinct, get out of the way and you know, just dex his specials, but you really want to block him here. So yeah, that's pretty much Airwalker soloed. And other than Wong, this was like the easiest solo I've had with Airwalker. I mean, this took me 3 tries after, you know, force closing to get a reset, but he's a perfect counter. So if you guys made it to the end, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope that redoing this video was worth it, because you know, I didn't like the way it originally turned out. So if you guys are still here and you cracked open a cold one, cheers, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Peace out, everybody. See you guys later.